And welcome back. I told you all I will have some amazing people, and now we have Miss Ashley Morgan, who is like a daughter to me. I shouldn't even say it that way because it makes me feel old, but I was a big-time administrator when she was just a student at Lincoln University. That's where we first met. But Ashley, thank you, and welcome to A Cup of Coffee with Dr. Curry.
Of course.
Did you notice you don't have any coffee in your hand?
Yeah, I don't like coffee.
You don't like coffee?
No.
Okay, you don't like coffee. But Ashley, help us as we start this conversation together. Tell me a little bit about Ashley Morgan.
Okay, I'm a mom. Maya is 6 years old. I went to Lincoln University, where you and I met. I graduated in 2007. I left Lincoln and I got my master's from Drexel, and I did that in a year, so I did that by 2008. Oh, I'm originally from New Jersey.
Okay.
I'm not from Delaware, you all. I'm from New Jersey, but after Lincoln, I didn't really want to go back home, so I stayed in Philly for about 8 years, and when Maya was born, I said, I'm not raising a daughter in Philadelphia, so I bought a home here in Delaware. Professionally, I've worked in radio, television, and now I'm a manager at AAA in marketing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You've done a whole lot in your short time and still doing great things, and we are very appreciative to that. Ashley, how did you find E-Zion Fair?
Well, I can remember vividly while at Lincoln, I believe were you in theology school?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so you were also chosen to be E-Zion Fair's pastor while I was at Lincoln University. And so we came to sing at E-Zion, I believe on maybe your first or second Sunday, possibly. And then after that, from living in Philly and not really finding a church, we always knew to come to visit E-Zion. And then several other Lincoln people went here, and before you know it, it just stuck. It was like, it's familiar, it's family, why not? So here I am.
When we were in a crisis about 4 years ago, or maybe 5 years ago, and I was trying to revamp the staff. I was trying to get them moving in a direction that I considered to be professional, and it seemed like I was failing on each side. You were having some issues where you didn't like to travel back and forth. You had your new daughter, and you came and you became our chief of staff for the Community Development Corporation. But tell me a little bit about that experience.
It's funny because I honestly haven't had to apply for a job since I believe my first radio job in TV. And you and I were just having a conversation about work and the baby, and I was like, I'm so sick of getting home at 7. I felt bad because I believe Maya wasn't even 1 at that point. And you called and you was like, Ash, well, what do you think about coming to help me at the CDC? And I'm like, to do what? That has nothing to do with television or radio. But I knew it was closer to home. Maya was here in daycare, so all the positives seemed to add up for me. And it was definitely a completely different world, but it showed me a different side of the church house that a lot of people don't see. Because the church is very spiritual, but it's also very natural too. There's a very business side component to it. And then working on the daycare side, I was exposed to a lot of people that I generally didn't talk to. So I think it helped me a lot, and to be able to put chief of staff on my resume made me seem very important.
Well, you were very important. You brought some policies in that we're still using. And that's one of the things I like. You had transferable skills, and those transferable skills have helped us even to today. We still call upon you to do and to help us and bring us out of some of the dilemmas that we may find ourselves in. I heard you talk about earlier about how when you came and you've not really had to apply for a job. You serve in that millennial group, okay? That Pastor Curry has some trepidation with. But obviously it's not always the group as much as individuals. Help me to understand some of those experiences that you've had in your life where it built the go-getter spirit in you.
That's a really good question. From a very young age, my mom would always instill in me, well, she was the one that actually sat me in front of the television, and we used to watch the Today Show every morning. And actually, you can do this, you can be with Al Roker. Back then it was Matt Lauer. And I was like, no, I don't think I really can. But she pushed that onto me. And then my dad on the opposite side was always like, never let anyone tell you what you can't do. If someone tells you you can't, you do it in their face with joy. So I always had that very docile but slightly competitive side of me. And then getting into the workforce, I always knew if I got my foot in the door, my personality and my work ethic would take me anywhere I wanted to go. I just needed the chance. And from radio, that was a sales job, so it was very commission based, which I did not like whatsoever. I like to know what I'm bringing in every 2 weeks, right? And I had a talk with my manager, and I said, I saw something in TV, like, can you help me get it? And he was like, but I really want you to do this. And I'm like, but I don't want to. Can you help me get that? And he called, and I went there. And from there, I walked over to the marketing side and said, is this job real? And she was like, yeah, do you want it? Absolutely. So I think I've always been really good at talking to people, even though I'm very shy, which some people don't know, but I'm very reserved until I get to know you. But I feel like in those areas, you have to kind of be outside your box or people will overlook you. And even at AAA, the latest job I have was created for me out of nowhere.
Yeah, you said that you may be shy or you may tend to be a little shy. I've seen all sides of you.
I believe it.
I've seen the shy side, which, you know, you sit in the back and you do a very good job at that because you never grandstand to get in front of people. And I think that's very powerful. But I've also seen the side where don't mess with me.
Absolutely.
Because I'm from the gated community, the gated hood, because you weren't from the projects as some of us were, but you were from the gated hood.
It was a development in the middle of the project.
Okay, we'll take that. And I've also saw the side where there was a strong passion and compassion for people. And I agree with you when you said that, you know, a lot of what your success came from getting your foot in the door to be able to do the things that you do. And that's very appreciative. And I want to now turn a little bit towards our church.
Okay.
All of your transferable skills has been blessing us. Now you've come back, not so much come back to the church, but you'll come back unpaid. I want to say that because sometimes people do things and they say, oh, they must be paying her big money, big dollars. But you come back and now you're going to help us in the side of the church business as well as it relates to Sunday morning. So let me just take a real quick break. And as soon as I come back from this break, we're going to talk about the church side and how you're blessing us. We'll be right back. And we're back. And I was getting ready to share with you before we went to our break, a little bit about the church side. You're now going to serve us, not going to, but you are serving us as the chief of staff for Sunday operations. And that seems like a big position, but what I was trying to do is to make sure that I can just preach the word. I wanted to have someone who can make sure everybody is in spot, everybody doing what they needed to do. And the person that popped in my spirit right away was Ashley Morgan. Well, before I let you talk a little bit about that, I want to tell everyone, especially those who know me, I am an A-type personality. I like to do it myself. I'm self-sufficient. Sometimes I think I am. But for the last month, since Ashley has been with us, this is going to shock some people. Before it's time for me to come out to preach, I'm meditating. Sometimes I'm even taking a nap. I have nothing to do. Homegirl, make it happen. And I'm very proud of it. So let's talk a little bit about what you do as chief of staff.
Honestly, I think I create whatever I feel is the need. I think let me start with saying, when I was chief of staff on the CDC side, I also worked in the sound room on the church side. So it was a merger of both worlds at the time. And being in the sound room, you have vision, literally, of the whole flow of the service, right? So you kind of adapt to where there are holes and what needs to be done. And then knowing you outside of church, I can see when your frustrations occur. I can see when somebody didn't do something right. I know when the mics are wrong. So I think from all of those years, it's kind of just coming back and putting it all together in a sense. I think ultimately I enjoy the people of E Zion Fair. And of course I have a complete heart for you and always have, but it brings me joy because I know where the church can go and where the church has been and the weird seasons maybe the church has had. But when you have the right people in place, things change and things can get better. Everything has hiccups and those are okay. Those are all growing pains and stretch marks and we get past them. So now I think it's just at a point of, one, do people trust me to do the job? Because if they trust me to do it, they'll respect me in doing it, which means I don't have to fight with people to get it done. And two, are you and I on the same step path where I understand what you want and then I can deliver it on the back end without having to talk to you about it? So I think that's essentially what I'm here to do. And I feel that I have the support of everybody I need the support from, especially from you, and I just enjoy it. Especially we're in this weird time, so we're not in the sanctuary, we're outside, we're inside, it's raining, it's not, and it all seems to flow. And I think it's because we're all...
And it was kind of interesting, everyone knows, and you know too, that on Saturdays is my personal time when I'm spending time with the Lord and getting ready for Sunday, and I get this text message. Matter of fact, let me go before that one.
Okay.
There was a text, you were on vacation just 3 weeks ago. You don't have to remind me because I'll start frowning. But about 3 weeks ago, you were away for your birthday, and I get this text message. CT, she calls me CT because she remembered from Lincoln, she don't call me Chris, but she calls me CT, and she said, is there anything I need to do? Is there anything I need to follow up on? She's on vacation. It's heart penetrating. Then on Sunday, you saw the weather and you said, look, it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. It's the first time we've had rain since we've been outside. CT, should we be now thinking about going inside? You know, quite naturally I said we're going to wait until the morning, but all of those things says that you understand how to make things work without me having to jump up and deal with it. And we are really appreciative to that. And you are absolutely right. You have the respect of this community and you have the respect of me because you are proving over and over again that you understand dynamics and how things flow and operate. And we are very, very appreciative to that. I was going to share with you that that those two experiences put a total relax on me.
Oh, good.
To say, she got it. And that's not the CT that you know. Because the CT you know is he got to put his finger in everything in order for it to work right. But when I trust, I trust for real. And most relationships, I start off with a strong trust, and then as things happen, right? Absolutely, we're just so much alike that it's not even funny. But Ashley, what are some things? Now, you did come in during the pandemic where we had not been inside the sanctuary, but that speaks also, if you can speak on it on your own, to your strength because this is not the normal conditions and you're making it work.
Well, I think the pandemic had we had a lot of hard times during the pandemic, just with our personal community, right? And when we had the opportunity to come back together, we didn't know if that was still going to be some sort of virtual way. Would it be a combination with what we have? Or were we going to be like some churches and just choose not to do anything until we could all come back together? I think this shows the strength of where we can go. So, and there's nothing wrong with the way E Zion flowed prior to this. We're a very all-inclusive church, not very traditional, but not just for the young people either. But this allows us to be outside of our four walls. So now in my head, I'm like, maybe we can do this every summer. I'm just saying, and some people don't like the outside conditions, but it's something completely different than what we do in the sanctuary. Absolutely. We're on a very strict time schedule, which people like. Other than you. People are still actively coming. It's a different sort of of interaction you have with members. Other people from other churches sometimes come. So I think it's opening our minds to what else can we do that this pandemic has forced us into doing.
Amen. Excellent. Excellent. What else can we do? That's interesting. Several members have said to me, Pastor, maybe this is something we should do every summer. And when you just said it, I just started thinking, because it is so difficult for me to preach in that environment.
I know.
Not that the people are not praising, but the real struggle that I have is that I have allergies real bad. And sometimes I'm barely able to breathe. So for those who wondering why is he screaming, it's because I'm trying to get out, because it's really hard for me to preach in those in the elements. Ashley, tell us a little bit about where life is taking you. You have a business.
I do.
I know. And, and tell us a little bit about where life is taking you. I know we have you, you're ours, but I've always been a push. I remember, if I could tell this story real fast, I remember when you came into the office a year after, or 2 years after you had taken over the chief of staff, and how you had been invited or offered a job that was paying you double or maybe triple what I was able to pay, and you were afraid, because not that you were scared of me, but you were more or less, I just got here and I want to help him, and you didn't want me to know, but once we sat down, I said, you must move forward and take the position. But where is life taking Ashley now as you see the vision for your life and your business?
So I guess there's 2 prongs to that, 3. So I always want to keep my church is one, so spirituality is one. I always still think about media and marketing. So lately, it has me thinking about like Washington D.C., like CNN for some reason. But don't make that noise. But it's a culmination of a lot of things. Like, I just feel like God's given me so much. He's given me so much, where it's kind of like, Ashley, wherever you want to go, I'll give you whatever you need to get there. So it's whatever I feel like putting the work into. And as far as the business portion, so the company is called Women with a Vision, and it's a company that was established by Autumn Jones and myself. And it came about because and we're not old. I mean, Autumn is a couple of years younger than me, but out of just conversations and experiences we had both had about life. And I'd always said, and I think I've asked you, like, how come certain things happen to me? Like, why can't I just be happy? And you've always said, Ash, because you have strong enough shoulders. God knows that you can get through it. And I've also taken that as, well, then maybe that means it's an opportunity for me to share some of my things when I'm released to other women. And for Autumn, God's given her the talent of singing, dancing, I mean, my God, she's like the triple threat type of thing. So we've taken all of that and smushed it all together, and we've had concerts, we've had women empowerment things, we've talked about weight loss, we've talked about self-esteem, we've talked about business, and it's really just one big thing that God literally gave us the vision for, to bring other females together, to say, you're not by yourself, even though we may not know you personally. Here's what we've experienced. Here are the resources that we have that could potentially help you. And the last event we had right before the pandemic, we actually were able to have here at the church, and we had over 75 women from various different states to come and exercise with us and meditate with us and pray with us and buy things, and it was amazing. So even that, once we put our minds and hearts really into something, that too, I know that's going to blow up.
Yeah. So, you said something, and I want to just, before we end this segment, you said that there were several things that the business does, and you look phenomenal, okay? Yeah. You really look phenomenal.
Thank you.
But I like the thicker, Ashley. I just wanted to say that to the cameras and to all of you. You have lost the weight. You look healthy. You look refreshing. But I like the thicker Ashley. Okay, so we're not going to tell you let the thicker Ashley come back.
Yeah, she's not coming back.
But I like the thicker Ashley. Okay. And my wife and I both adore you very much. Matter of fact, last night Maya did not want to go home.
I know.
And she was doing all that she could to stay with us. And we were going to let her, but we know that we got to keep moving forward, because I know Maya will stay, and then in the middle of the night, Maya will say,
Mom,
I'm ready to come home.
Exactly.
So I told my wife, I said, let's just wait a little bit longer before we do that. But we love you so very much, Ashley, and we appreciate you and for all that you do. And I ask, at this time, we only have one 1 minute left, but is there anything you would like to share with your E-Zion Fair family or the world at this time?
One thing, your struggles don't define who you are.
Amen.
So use them and be compelled to be better than what they are. And eventually, you'll be able to look back at the hill and say, I got over that, so I can get over anything. Be blessed.
God bless you. We'll be right back.